One of the big contentious issues in this year's New York State government budget has been over how evidence is used in criminal trials. If you're like me and you're not a public defender or a defense attorney or a public prosecutor, you probably don't know much about this. So I dug into it. The debate is over how evidence is used in criminal trials. Back in 2019, public defenders complained that prosecutors held on to evidence for too long. Prosecutors have to share the evidence with defense attorneys and public defenders, but they were holding on to it too long. To ensure fairness, in 2019, the laws changed that mandated prosecutors share evidence with defense attorneys and public defenders early enough in the process. Otherwise, the case would be thrown out. And this led to unintended consequences. Cases got thrown out because evidence was not shared early enough, or there were procedural errors, or there were just delays in case processing, and cases were thrown out. And as a result, cases, especially domestic violence cases, got thrown out at a far higher rate than they should have been. And so since these reforms in 2019, 26% of domestic violence cases got thrown out, and 94% of all domestic violence cases have been thrown out in New York City. So this year, the state government is making the following changes. One, they're redefining what material is considered discoverable. The scope of the evidence they must share has narrowed, that prosecutors must share with defense attorneys has narrowed. Two, they're giving judges more discretion over whether cases should be thrown out over these procedural issues. Three, they're decoupling this requirement from the speedy trial requirement. So cases that are thrown out because they're not done in a speedy way, that is no longer one reason to be thrown out over this issue specifically. And fourth, Governor Hochul and the state government is providing $120 million in their budget for compliance on this law. So supporters, including Governor Hochul and district attorneys and prosecutors, argue that these reforms are addressing a procedural loophole, and that cases that are being thrown out on technicalities will no longer be thrown out. Opponents, which include public defenders and civil rights groups, argue that this is going to erode defendants' rights, that people have the right to have, that prosecutors are going to keep withholding evidence, and that's going to harm defendants. This has become a central issue over the New York State government budget, but it really highlights the complexity of balancing efficient legal process with the protection of individual rights.